undetected until he joined Valencia's youth academy.
He made it. Oh my lord.
You think I'll cross and take my mans out, just kill yourself. In the trenches, 40 on my hip, I had to fix my...
To mid-2010s, Spain produced the greatest generation of midfielders the game of football has ever seen. And the two that come to mind most for many as some of the best midfielders of all time are without a doubt Xavi and Iniesta. But there was another who, outside of certain Premier League fans, almost never gets talked about. A man with dribbling and ball control just as elite as Iniesta, and vision and playmaking just as beautiful as Xavi. You could even argue that in Spain, he was the better player, providing more assists than both Barca legends in fewer matches. Heck, even in the beginning of their international dynasty, he played even more minutes than both of them. The same guy who pushed Cesc Fabregas and Juan Mata in the best games of their
Adam Sandler, dog. I ain't gonna lie.
careers to the bench, David Jimenez Silva. So incredible that his playstyle and overall game was perfectly described in his nickname of the Magician.
I always say it as David makes a bad pass a good pass. You know, we call him the Magician because he brings things down that shouldn't be brought down. He does touches that sees things that other people don't see.
Because when thinking Man City and how good they are now, David Silva was one of, if not the biggest factor in building the foundations for helping the club become what they are today. There's a reason why they built a statue of him before he even retired. And I truly, honestly, and certainly believe that had he been just a few years younger, Man City with a prime David Silva, Haaland, De Bruyne, and all the other pieces they have today could have won 3 Champions League titles in a row. But before he had ever gained any popularity in the Premier League, when compared to his other high-profile Spanish teammates, I'm not exaggerating when I say that David Silva was severely underrated.
Kevin is a joke. He's a joke. He sees the game a couple of steps ahead of everyone else. You know, he's already planning his next move.
What if you could do SEO smarter?
Was he describing me? No.
Is he the best player favourite?
David was so good.
David Silva.
Yeah, David
They
was so
all say
good.
this. They all say it.
David was so good.
Because most of Spain's golden generation of midfielders went out to start their careers in bigger clubs like Barcelona, or even outside of Spain in top clubs in the Premier League, David Silva started off much more unknown. Despite signs of his early talent, David was never really in the spotlight, and was often forced to play out of position, starting off as a goalkeeper, and then usually having to play as a winger. That was until his skills would become so undeniable that there would be some rumors about a prodigy all the way from the furthest corners of Spain in the Canary Islands. But because of how remote he was, big clubs just never really caught on, and Silva would go relatively undetected until he joined Valencia's youth academy.
He made it. Oh my lord. How did he just make that?
Did you see what the ball did?
Yes.
What in the world?
Relatively undetected until he joined Valencia's youth academy. His abilities were good enough to send him as a 17-year-old straight into first-team play, going on loan to clubs like Eibar and Celta Vigo. But what mattered most was that the experience would rapidly improve his game, and Valencia would quickly recall him and establish him as a regular starter, immediately playing over 50 matches at just 19 years old. In fact, in his first 2 seasons in Valencia, he would play over 100 matches, and together with David Villa, he would help carry a relatively weaker Valencia squad all the way to win.
Wait a minute, I don't know how that's kind of a lot of games to not get injured though. Because I remember because Messi, you know, you used to be getting injured like quick as freak. Like that, 19 too.
Wait, hold on, bro's in mid-air right now.
Oh god, that's not gonna end well. He going straight on his butt.
Usually, Silva would not have been making headlines in Spain. Spanish manager Luis Aragonés recognized the absolute brilliance of Silva, consistently being called up since 2007 to play in Spain's Euro qualifiers. Because if Barcelona had Xavi and Iniesta, for Valencia, David Silva played the role of both. We all know how monstrously good Barcelona was becoming in those days, and how many world-class talents they had on their squad. But you could have dropped David Silva in there and he wouldn't have missed a beat. Heck, if he had played for Barcelona, I dare say a lot more casuals would rate him and put him up there on a pedestal, because the way that Silva dribbled the ball was immaculate. His close control, touch, and overall dribbling was just so crisp and tight. He didn't have to do any skill moves or even have much speed in order to carry the ball, beat his man, and to keep possession. That's why even at times throughout his career when he had to play as a winger, it didn't matter if he lacked the pace, because his ball control was just so tight. It was all he needed to get past his man. Honestly, I'd have to say that Iniesta's dribbling was better, but only by the slightest of margins. And you have to imagine that Silva was doing that on a much weaker side, with a lot fewer options and support. But his dribbling was just so good that it got to the point that the harder you pressed him, the easier it was for him to beat you. Just think about that for a second. I know it might sound counterintuitive, but truly, all he needed to do to beat defenders was shuffle the ball between his left and right foot and make the slightest of feints. Silva could even regularly get the ball out of trouble.
Okay, no, that was bad defense. I'm be 100% honest. No, I'm gonna call it how I see it. Boy, what are you doing?
Like,
he was. Oh, hi, can I get a picture? Come on, dude.
Bruh, like, was you scared?
Do you just ask him for a picture? What in the world was that? That's actually really bad. Hold on real quick. Let me see the chat real quick.
All out of trouble when pressed by multiple opposition. Because if he was indeed feeling the pressure, his passing, playmaking, and division could even give Xavi a run for his money. The way that he could send passes through traffic, attract opposition to press him, and then find the open man to advance, or even just keeping possession going and building up play was truly just the slightest of...
Jordan, what in the world? Are we seeing freaking magic?
Was that a Ronaldo chop? I'm not sure.
It was like a Ronaldo chop.
Hey,
but that was like a Ronaldo chop with like makes it look like he stepped on the ball. Like, am I tripping? Like,
or even just keeping possession going and building up play.
What?
What the freak?
I don't know how the ball lifted up though. Like, okay, it must be a imaginary person. I don't know.
Was truly just the slightest of margins behind Xavi. Silva was never really one to play long balls, but his mid-range crosses and passing were as accurate and creative as you could ever ask for. Plus, when it came to scoring goals and finishing, Silva was definitely better than Iniesta and Xavi. And some of you might crucify me for this, but if you compare Silva and Modric, I believe Modric only has Silva beat on the defensive end, stamina, set pieces, long ball passing, and long-distance shooting. I even put out this poll asking who the better footballer was between Silva and his future teammate, Kevin De Bruyne. And personally, I think the only thing that KDB has on Silva is playing long-range balls, goal-scoring, and physicality. Sure, Kevin De Bruyne is better at finding the direct assist, but Silva is the midfielder who builds the chances. And though his passing range was a lot shorter, Silva was able to do it all while building a play from any part of the pitch. Plus, I'd argue that now KDB has had the much better squad. But we'll talk more on that later. But while I do think that KDB is probably the greatest Premier League midfielder of his generation, and probably on his way up there all time, I personally don't think he could do as well individually as Silva could, without such a strong attack and midfield, allowing him to do what he does best. Because Silva at an individual level, even playing for Spain, showed why he was one of the most important players in Spain's golden midfield. Because in the 2008 Euros, Silva was the perfect piece to basically make up for what his other midfield partners were lacking. Pacier than Iniesta, Xavi, and Xabi Alonso, being a far better dribbler than the latter two, while still having just as elite of vision, playmaking, and passing. But yet he was the only midfielder not playing for a glamorous club. And when they would go on to lift the 2008 Euros trophy, people did start to notice him, but still, in such a star-studded squad playing just as well. In comparison, he was relatively unknown. But since then, slowly David Silva was starting to make a name for himself, not with his words or any publicity, but simply from his brilliance in La Liga. After playing a match against Real Madrid, even Florentino Perez was so impressed, he told the playmaker, "Take your suitcase to our locker room, because next year you'll be with us." But Silva at the time remained loyal to the only club that noticed him from the beginning. It was only after the 2010 World Cup and Silva winning his second consecutive major international title with Spain that Valencia were finally looking to hike up his price and were open to selling him to wealthier clubs. But instead of joining Real Madrid, Manchester City would try their very hardest to try to convince Silva to join them, promising that he would be a central part of the organization's plans and that he would have their full support and dedication. With Silva recalling, "They bet very hard on me. I felt their trust and support from the first call. They told me how the project was going to be. Man City's ambition was to become one of Europe's biggest clubs." Funnily, at the time, even Pep Guardiola wanted him at Barcelona, saying, "I'd love to have him here." However, the club that landed David Silva was the rich club from Manchester.
I ain't gonna lie.
Just the fact that Silva...
No, bro. Messi and them can't be on the same team. No. No, that's too much dribbling, too much ball control.
Too much tiki-taka.
Too much passing. Too freaking much.
I'm good.
He joined Man City was enough to convince Yaya Toure to also sign with the club, as he understood and was fully aware of the sheer brilliance of the Spanish magician, knowing that if he was there, with the right pieces around him, Man City could definitely establish themselves as a big club. Just in his first season with the club, Man City would win the FA Cup, finally ending a 35-year trophy drought. Then in the 2011-2012 season, Silva was just beginning to reach the absolute prime of his physicality and playmaking. He would lead the Premier League in assists, playing a major factor in Man City winning their first Premier League title in history. In fact, before Aguero's iconic season-winning goal, it was Silva that provided...
Hey! I better have seen that right, or I better have not seen that right on the crash. Did he just my shoe? Wait a minute. What the? I'm at a corner. Why the freak? Wait, chat. Nah. He was. Why did he not care about who that was going to?
Before Aguero's iconic season-winning goal, it was Silva.
Is his eyes closed? I'm gonna crash the heck out, Jordan.
He could just look.
This must have been me dressed up as a white
Bruh.
dude.
Provided the assist to put them level and kept them alive long enough to win. He even balled out in their 6-1 trashing of Man United, prompting Sir Alex Ferguson to say, "It was our worst ever day. It's the worst result in my history ever. Even as a player, I don't think I ever lost 6-1. Then in the 2012 Euros, although Iniesta was named the player of the tournament, it's not crazy to say that Silva was the most important midfielder in the squad, scoring a goal in the final against Italy, and even being Euro 2012's joint top assist provider. Silva was the most important midfielder in the squad, scoring a goal in the final against Italy, and even being Euro 2012's joint top assist provider, prompting manager Vicente Del Bosque to call David Silva Spain's version of Lionel Messi. But the thing about Silva compared to his other Spanish midfield greats is that his longevity was much better, especially playing so long in a physically tougher league. And stats alone don't reflect how important Silva was to City. If he wasn't providing the assist, he was always crucial in building up to the play and setting things in motion. He led the orchestra in Man City. His overall skill and performance in England was magical. And unlike many other great midfielders in the league like Mesut Ozil, Silva was...
He really is playing 3 different generations. I've seen the quality get better each clip. The freak.
Consistent. And with City building a squad with Silva at the center of it all, they would start to slowly rack up silverware and respect. The 2017-18 season was probably David Silva's best, as City became the first team to finish with over 100 points in the Premier League, setting a record for the biggest disparity between champions and runner-ups in Premier League history. Silva also scored in that League Cup final win. It's definitely not wrong to say that Silva helped build Man City up to where they are today with his skill and playmaking wizardry. That's why teammates like Carlos Tevez say that David Silva is the best signing that Man City has ever made. Going from a team that was winning nothing to
besides me that one time
titles, 2 FA Cups, 5 League Cups, and 2 Community Shields. And while KDB did pick up where Silva left off, You have to remember, Silva was playing with a weaker squad at a time when he still had to battle it out against much better opposition. Like the last of Ferguson's Man United sides, a prime Eden Hazard-led Chelsea, and a prime Liverpool. Deservedly so, they built him a statue. And heck, had he been playing in his prime early to mid-2010s form now, City probably could have even had back-to-back trebles. That's just how far better he is than guys like Bernardo Silva, Mahrez, Rodri, or Foden. Even from the age of 35 to 38, playing in his final few seasons in Real Sociedad, his body and physicality slowing down never really mattered because his ball control and playmaking was still magical. It took Silva rupturing a ligament in his knee in mid-2023 to finally decide to hang up his boots. For me, Silva is one of the greatest midfielders of all time, and certainly from a skill and technical aspect. There's an argument for him to be close to, if not in the top 10, of the most brilliant, skilled, and gifted midfielders.
Is that how many go? Wait.
No chances created.
Okay. That's kind of crazy, though.
For real.
700?
Yeah.
Heard him a pseudo zip. Yeah, that's kind of crazy, bro. This nigga kind
of all time. So after watching this, I hope you can look back to his relatively outside of Man City underrated career and recognize just how insanely brilliant he was.
David Silva, I can't believe it, bro. He low-key should be more like talked about though. Come on, dude. Be honest. Maybe stop saying you. Quit.
Heard you one time to the mob. Heard that you tryna get involved with it. Heard that you tryna come by.